everyone. I am Jensine Casey, owner of Baby O and I Consulting, which is a pediatric sleep consulting business. So I work with families of children under the age of 4 to help you meet whatever your individual sleep goals may be. So tonight we are going to be talking about the 4-month sleep regression, which is so painful for most parents. I'm going to talk a little bit about why it happens, what exactly it is, and what you can do to help your child through this time. So the first thing that you should know is that it happens to every single child. There is no exception to this rule. Basically, what the 4-month regression is when a child is a newborn, you have basically 2 stages of sleep. You're like awake or asleep, basically. But once you hit that 4-month mark, it's not even a regression. It's really a progression in their skills and their abilities. So they are now going from 2 sleep cycles to 4 sleep cycles. So their sleep becomes a little bit more complex and harder for them to maneuver through. So before, if you're essentially awake or asleep, it's really hard. It's really easy to just, be awake or be asleep. But then as you add in those new sleep cycles for that, through that 4-month regression, it gets really tricky. Like, how do I string these sleep cycles together? How do I get myself back to sleep when I wake up? So tonight we're going to talk all about what to do to really help your child through that regression, how to even know if they're entering that regression, and then a little bit of my experience of what that was like for my kids. So basically, like I said, the 4-month regression is moving from 2 sleep cycles to 4 sleep cycles. The biggest piece of this is going to be how your child initially falls asleep at bedtime. And it may seem like it's not really related if your child is falling, like you're able to get them to sleep relatively easily by holding or rocking or walking or nursing or bottle feeding them to why they're waking up overnight, but they have a direct correlation. So think about this. If you fall asleep in one place, you fall asleep on your couch, comfy, snuggled up, you're warm, you're cozy, it's amazing. And then you wake up in your kitchen. Maybe, you're like, how did I get here? What's going on? You're a little bit thrown off. It's still a familiar place to you, possibly, but you're just not expecting to wake up in that location. So it is basically the same thing. When your child falls asleep in kind of one of those things that I listed previously, being held by you, being rocked, being walked, whatever it may be, when they wake up in a different location, it's definitely a little bit jarring as to why did I wake up here? But the biggest piece of it is, how do I get myself back to sleep here in this location? So you fell asleep on your couch with your pillow, with your blanket, with all these cozy things. Then you wake up in your kitchen with none of those things. Your child falls asleep being assisted, being held, being rocked, being fed. And then when they wake up in their crib or bassinet, they're no longer being assisted. So they don't know what to do. So that's why the biggest thing is how they initially fall asleep at bedtime, because if they fall asleep independently at bedtime, then they will be able to replicate that once they wake up overnight. Every single person wakes up at night. There is nobody on this earth that you can tell me does not wake up overnight. It's just what their sleep skills are and if they're able to get themselves back to sleep overnight. So hopefully you have really great sleep skills. You can fluff your pillow, go back to sleep. Pull up your blanket, go back to sleep. But your child may not have developed those independent sleep skills yet. So they really need that support to be able to do it. So having them fall asleep initially on their own at bedtime is going to be a huge advantage for when that sleep regression comes, because they're going to know how to continue to put themselves back down to sleep. One of the most telltale signs, there's a couple of signs of your child entering that regression, but it's going to happen anytime between 3.5 and even 5 months. It says 4-month regression, but there's really a little bit of a range there. It's going to manifest in either consistent night wake up. So once that those sleep cycles are added, it's about 2 hours long. So that's when your child is going to be waking up consistently every 2 hours at night. Maybe their naps could be interrupted. Maybe they were doing really solid hour and a half, 2-hour naps, and now they're cut to 30 minutes, that one daytime sleep cycle, and they don't know how to bridge that gap. So once you're seeing some of those disturbances, either age or waking every 2 hours at night, or having disturbances to their naps, that's when you'll know they're kind of entering that regression. So this is going to be the time that you really want to come up with a solid bedtime routine to be able to have them fall asleep independently. I have two very different experiences with the 4-month regression, because for my oldest son, I was not a sleep consultant. And now for my middle son, my youngest son, my middle child, I was a sleep consultant. So the way that I approached their sleep was very differently from the beginning. For my oldest son, that sleep regression hit us like a freight train. It was so terrible. He was doing okay at first. And then once that regression hit, it was like constant. I had gone back to work around the same time, so he had transitioned him into his own room. And even though like we shared a wall, it was back to back. Having to get up and to go into his room to help him fall back asleep every 2 hours was the worst thing in the world. So all of you tired parents up there, I feel you. I know what it's like. I have done it. And then with my second, it was such a different experience, because I had started his sleep foundation from the very start. From the day we came home from the hospital, I was working on a bedtime routine. I was getting him to fall asleep in his bassinet for naps, at least one nap a day. By 4 months, we had moved it up to closer to 2 solid naps in his bassinet, transitioning to a pack and play in our room. So once that 4-month regression hit for him, it actually showed early morning wake ups. So he was able to I could put him in the pack and play. He would fall asleep on his own. He would do longer stretches at night. Even if he did wake up, I knew that he could get himself back down to sleep on his own. But it was the early mornings, the way that his came up. He would wake up at like 5 and have a really, really hard time falling back asleep. And we would wrestle with that until about 7 a.m. for about a week. So yes, it comes up differently for every child, but again, it is going to come up. So if you have a child, if you're a parent of a newborn, if you are expecting, if your child is just turning 3 months, then this is for you. The biggest thing, I'm going to put the link in the comments so you will have it. You want to join, or you want to sign up for my 4 to 6 month bedtime routine. That's going to be a really helpful guide. It's a free guide, but it's going to be super helpful into knowing exactly how to establish that bedtime routine so that you will see the changes overnight. Oh, yes, definitely possible. So again, I will put that link in so you can starting with a bedtime routine. I can't stress enough. That is how you're going to make a change to everything else. So if you have, I totally forgot what I was going to say there. So it doesn't have to be like a lot of families will think, this is kind of the way that it is. Maybe my child just isn't a great sleeper. It's kind of like with anything else. If you aren't so great at painting, but you love painting, then you're going to take classes. You're going to watch YouTube videos. You're going to Google things about it, and you're going to learn and start to expand and change things, and you're going to get better. Sometimes for sleep, it's the same thing. Maybe you were born with your child was born and they were an amazing sleeper. Awesome. Maybe your child was born and they're not such a great sleeper. It doesn't matter, essentially, because you can help them develop those skills to be able to become a wonderful sleeper. So if that's something that you're really interested in, then you definitely want to grab that guide, because that's going to be super helpful, just as step 1, so you know exactly what to do to get started. So I also have something coming, a group coaching for 4 to 6 month olds. So if your child is starting to go through that regression, or they have gone through that regression, and you're kind of struggling to get back on track to get longer than those 2 hours of sleep every night, then definitely reach out to me. I'm just starting the wait list for the group coaching, so I would love to have you be a part of it. So if you were watching this, let me know if you want to join the wait list for the group coaching. But if not, definitely grab that 4 to 6 month old guide. I hope this live was helpful for anyone that is struggling with the 4-month regression. If you have any questions, please let me know. Feel free to pop them in the comments, and I will see you all soon.